Hello everyone, this is Donna, and here's Chapter 5 of Endgame. First of all, I want to say to Prince Harry, congratulations. You did a wonderful job. Everyone is so proud of you. Keep it up. Now, Chapter 5 of Omid's Endgame, which, by the way, I want to say this. The judge in Harry's case said he found Omid to be very credible and truthful witness. Now, in Chapter 5, Omid calls this chapter baggage. And this is the chapter on page 109 to 110 that he talks about who said what color would Archie's skin color be. This is the chapter that was exposed in a translation. Okay? Now, Omid says that everyone has always known who made those comments. Okay? Now, I call this chapter the newspaper chapter because Omid talks about, again, about the Queen, talks about how things are getting ready for Prince Charles, talks about the cash for honors issue. And this is all in the newspaper. This is a reminder. This is historical information. And he talks about the main reason why he talks about this scandal, which is deep, a lot deeper than I thought it was, because I heard about 1 and about 2, and he talks about how people were making fun of Charles. But this scandal is very deep, and he says that people in the palace do not trust Charles's judgment, and why. Also, I didn't know that one of the people who was in this scandal had become a lord. He was rewarded for this scandal. Several people were rewarded. Also, I didn't know that there was how deep Charles's relationship was with Fawcett, and the palace called him Fawcett the Fixer. Okay? So the first a few pages of this book is about how Charles's behavior, okay, affects how people look at him and how he isn't quite up to the job because of that. Also, Fawcett became a scapegoat. And it's like the royal family needs scapegoats to cover up what they were doing. Also, remember that Andrew and Fergie were selling access. But remember, Fergie was caught on camera doing it. And her and Andrew suffered because of that. But this is something, money for access, money for honors, is something that the royal family does. Now, Charles is wealthy, but he was still selling honors, okay? And we have to remember that when some people get caught in the royal family, they're doing things that everyone has done. This is probably why Prince Harry says he knows the model and he doesn't want to be a part of it, okay? Also, it says that Charles, when he started Dumfries House, okay, it is basically didn't do as well as people thought, and he has some other projects that didn't do as well. Now, I feel sorry for Prince Charles on this level, because he was only trying to be a successful person, and it fails. And when he does fail, the palace are the first ones to criticize him. And they said, Omid talks about in Chapter 5 how the Queen was concerned about how Charles treats his money, that he is very extravagant, and he talks about his extravagances in Chapter 5. You know, the toothpaste, his shirt, his pajamas have to be ironed, and if the eggs aren't right, they're sent back. Okay, so the Queen was afraid that Charles was going to be losing money because the royal family went bankrupt in the past before. Okay, also it talks about Meghan and Harry, and how Charles was concerned about them leaving, and also about the letters that Meghan and Charles wrote to each other, and how were these letters handled. And also, my point about this was, why would Charles discuss the letter if it was him? Omid says that it was Charles and Kate, right? That everyone knew it, like I said before, that the court, and that I said how the court called Omid truthful, okay? So he talks about Charles being bullied when he was a young child, okay? And I know that Charles was mean and bullied Diana. He talks about, he makes a statement at the end, all right? He says, the reality is that too many who watched as Charles was anointed with the holy oil on May 6, 2023, to confirm him as the head of the Church of England, the man in front of the Archbishop of Canterbury was still a philandering husband and an unwise collector of bags of money. He also says, throughout this book, that Charles is a bad father, that he wasn't able or is not able to bring peace to his family. 5 is really, has so much information. You definitely are going to have to take your time reading 5. There's a lot of information in this chapter called Baggage. He really details it, and it's all historical fact, and we know that Omid is truthful. And basically, you can check everything that he's saying for yourself.